Hey everyone, finish watching the next episode of Mystic Knights Battle of the Druids. Kahad is experimenting with black holly leaves. He tries to cast a spell with them, but it backfires. Later, Kahad is visited by his old teacher, Seekin. He receives a vision of a monster in a lake. The king sends out the knights to investigate. Maeve, meanwhile, is in the process of sending out a new monster. The knights reach the lake and look around for the monster. They begin to think Kahad's teacher was wrong, but just then Maeve's monster attacks. They drive away the monster. The king awards Seekin a Medal of Honor in thanks for warning of the monster. The king then appoints him his senior advisor. Kahad feels he isn't needed and prepares to leave. The knights try to convince him to reconsider. The next day, Aideen is out in the forest and sees Seekin. She doesn't think anything of it at first, but then she sees him talking with one of Maeve's fairy spies. She tells Rowan and he goes to see Finvara. Finvara casts a spell to see what the spy sees. They witness Seekin conspiring with Queen Maeve. At the castle of Kells, the king announces his surrender to Temra. His soldiers are confused, and Deirdre tries to talk to him, but he's unresponsive. He's under a spell. Rowan and Angus go out to find Kahad. They find him and bring him to the castle. He lifts the spell, returning the king to normal. Seekin reveals his true intentions. He betrayed Kells because he believes Temra will be victorious. He and Kahad duel. The knights suggest he use the black holly leaves. Kahad is unsure, but tries. He casts a spell with them, and it works. Seekin is cast away. Kahad is glad he could help, but saddened that his old friend had turned to evil. This is a bit depressing, but very good. Kahad finally gets his own focus episode. He disappears for a while in the middle, but in the end he becomes the hero. Seekin is a great character. He genuinely comes off as a warm, friendly guy, but when he reveals himself as a traitor, it feels like a realistic choice he's made. One odd, unresolved point, Maeve's monster is never defeated. It just flies away. Will we see it return in the future? The fairy spy Seekin talks to, interestingly, was only under suspicion of being a spy by Finvara. It wasn't until he saw him at Maeve's castle that he was sure. Also, he calls the fairy a bogey. It was a hunchbacked fairy. Are they a specific type of fairy called bogies? Is that short for boggart? Or bogart? Boggarts are usually depicted as hunchbacked. I wish I knew all the technical terms for the fairies. There's little green gremlin things called spriggets, and possibly they're not even their own race, but a thing fairies get turned into as punishment. Back to the episode, Seekin expands on what we know of Druids in this series. Druids have magic powers. Some have different powers than others, and they age differently than normal people. The message of the episode is very relevant at the moment. In the US, we just had a presidential election. The choices were pretty clear. We could have someone with some level of morality, or we could have a lying rapist. The country voted in favor of the lying rapist. Unfortunately, in reality, the conflict is not as easily solved as casting a spell. It's a message that definitely hits close to home these days. Anyone, even those we love and respect, can fall into blind hate. Seekin was played by Kevin Flood. He has many credits going back to the early 60s, but I'm not familiar with most of them. However, he was on Doctor Who once. This was another strong entry for Mystic Knights. I really love this one, and I'm looking forward to the rest. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
Oh, humans. Never a moment's peace.